I suspect that it's probably pretty easy to get a call returned or get a meeting with your own legislator, because you're one of his constituents and he certainly is supposed to pay attention to you and has reasons to do so. How much harder is it to take the next step, like each of you has done, and start dealing with other legislators and the whole legislature and trying to do something other than just register your opinion with one member?
Eric, I think it's important. Again, for me, it's different with organizations. I just look at these as people who get up the same way I do every dang day, who go out and make a living. They wear clothes like I do. I mean, they're just people like myself. So that's one of the first level things I do. Secondly, they've been elected to do something for thousands of people in a legislative district. Number three, it's important for people to know what people think. Now, there's going to be different ways of doing those kinds of things. So for me, it's a principled kind of thing. Then you focus on a particular subject or whatever it might be. You become informed. That doesn't have to be where you read a big book or whatever. It's just by reading some of the newspaper articles about a particular topic or whatever, or go to the library or do an internet search on a particular topic. And if you know of some things, let's say you go to your legislator, and to expand that on, is just to be driven by an openness and not to be afraid. You've got to have, at least for those people that it's intimidating for or whatever, one of the things that I've tried to do when I'm up at the Capitol and I see a couple citizens wandering around how to do something or whatever, I'll say, hey, I've learned the dance of the legislators, a term that I've used because I just say it. Let me show you how you can find out about a bill. Let me tell you about, if you're interested, because I'll go up and ask. So it is intimidating. So the thing is, there has to be some self-initiative from the person too. But it comes down to me of some basic understandings, like we've talked about some pie in the sky. It's a republic, it's a democracy, it's, these people represent us. And once you take off on your interest or whatever, you start asking the questions like who, when, where, why, what. And with a little saying that I've always felt, laws are made by people who show up.
And stay late.
And stay late, and this is a little thing I've said over the years.
I just wrote it right here.
And, for those late committee meetings or to talk to somebody or whatever. So the bottom line is you can make a difference. And I can't emphasize that more, but the issue is how to, and that's where Dai tries to help people do the how-tos. Or like 2 nights ago, there are a bunch of web bloggers who want to find out how to use open meeting laws in our state to be able to get access to information. So the bloggers who came from libertarian to liberal views or whatever can maybe do things in their own little things they want to do, and then start massing it out to the people. And there might be some individual, oh, I didn't know about that at the legislature. And all of a sudden, who knows? They might be calling up their legislator or 2 or 3 or 4. So that, I'm just saying, things, you can make a difference. And I really believe that.
Not only can you, but people do every day. People make a difference when they show up.
So, just to build on that, I think as Minnesotan and as Americans, we experience reality a little bit differently depending on how we're situated, how we're brought up, where do we live, are we people of color, are we white? We experience reality a little bit different, but we all share the same reality, right? And so with this perspective, and we all enter politics and the public arena a little bit different. And when you say you have a list of thousands of folks who you send email to and they call the legislative leader, well, that itself, it's a different. That itself, it's an engagement. It's a entry point for us as citizens. So like Rich and all of us and Twila, we enter politics at a different angle. But as Minnesotan, I highly encourage all of us to engage in the public arena at the level that you're comfortable with, at the level of your own oppression and your anger. If you have a lot of anger that you want to see change, then you should do something with that. Don't hold it inside and be troubled by yourself, because there's other people that are probably experiencing the same oppression, and they probably want to see the same change. But if you don't relate to them, if you don't build relationship with them, if you don't go out and talk to them, then they wouldn't know where you're at too. And so the political process and all of this, it belongs to all of us. We are all the leaders that we've been waiting for, and we are, we are all here for a purpose and for a reason. And so I highly encourage every Minnesotan to get involved.
But I also want to make a comment. It's important, yes, to show up at a legislative hearing, to testify, but what's so important is to follow through. What happens a lot, I see sometimes citizens, they testify, but they don't follow through to see what happened or to continue pressure on some of the legislators.
Which means, of course, then it's not as important to them. Because if it was really important to them, they would follow through, and the legislators feel that it's not as important. And so they may or may not follow through themselves with being supportive of the person who came to testify. The one thing that I would say is that people need to come and watch a hearing. And not just say that because they've watched one on television, one of those rare televised ones, that they've seen a hearing. The difference between a televised hearing and what happens when the television cameras are not on is amazing. And that's one of the comments that I hear most from people who have come to watch a hearing, is they cannot believe the talking that's happening when people are testifying, the fact that some people are not listening at all, some of the walking around, and how many legislators aren't actually even there in the room to hear them. There's all these sorts of things that happen during hearings that really surprise the average public, who thinks once they're there that this is very important. And they're so surprised. And it's an opportunity for them to talk to their legislators about what they see, and an opportunity for them to really see what happens at that level.
Well, thanks, Twila and Rich and Dai, for sharing your stories and your inspiring examples.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.